Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone out there can hear me, and welcome to the Lightpath Boston Virtual Lunch and Learn, where hopefully your lunch is in reality and you're going to learn virtually. Thank you for taking some time out of your day. We will keep it short, sweet, and concise today, leaving some time for questions and answers. There's a bar where you can enter Q&A as we go through the presentation if you have questions, and we'll bring on some folks at the end to help answer any questions that are out there. I'm Doug Tertz. I'm the Senior Vice President of Enterprise Sales here at Lightpath. And I guess ultimately that's probably the first question you're asking. Not what is a Doug Tertz, but what is a Lightpath? And for those that don't know us, we've been around for 30 years in the New York metro area. We've been servicing customers with mission-critical bandwidth needs during that time, building fiber networks, Ethernet networks, internet, IP, wavelength, connecting their data centers. And what we do that we think is a little bit different and that we're now bringing to the Boston market is to really get involved with our customers, to really look at how our fiber layouts can meet the needs that they have from an infrastructure standpoint. We use that all fiber plant that we have in the ground, and we'll talk about what we've done in the Boston Metro in Massachusetts and connecting it back to our network as we go through this. But we've done that to enable the most efficient way for our customers to turn up bandwidth and meet their needs today and plan for tomorrow. We've got 18,000 plus route miles of fiber in the ground and on poles, depending on the routes. Key crossings like the Tappan Zee Bridge, which is now the Mario Cuomo Bridge in New York metro area. We've got diversity from all the places that we have to tie into our over 75 data centers. And we use this kind of full suite to enable our product set that we'll talk about. We know that customer bandwidth needs are just continuing to go up with things like cloud connectivity, diverse requirements to data centers, the needs of security coming to the forefront as people have really important data, be it in healthcare, be it in pharmaceutical, be it in retail, financial transactions, of course, anything to do with the hyperscaler world like the Amazons and the Microsofts of the world. We are seeing just the needs of bandwidth from both the drivers of our folks that are now working from home, working in offices, hybrid type situations. All of these things are converging, and our network is the place where that happens. So today we are in the midst of our expansion. As I said, 30 years in and around the New York metro area, a pretty big place to cut our teeth. And now we opened up our first non-New York metro area market. We are backed by Altice USA, who you may know, the MSG New York Rangers for our Boston fans up there. And we'll talk about the Patriots and the ability to run the ball, of course. But the point being that that company that owned the Rangers and MSG, the Dolan family and Cablevision, sold that to Altice. Altice subsequently partnered with Morgan Stanley here in the New York Metro to invest in us so that we could take what we were doing locally and expand it both regionally and nationally over time. So when we looked at our markets and where we wanted to go first, Boston rose to the top. The metro area with the higher ed, with healthcare, financials, pharmaceuticals, biotech, all of these great industries that are clamoring for bandwidth. We wanted to be a first mover in the market and come and help to set the bar at a new standard. And we'll talk about how we do it a little bit differently as we go through this as well. So the difference is really key to what we're doing. A lot of people could come on today and say they have fiber in the ground and say they do things a little differently than everyone else. We actually kind of believe we are. We have built new fiber, so the fiber has been put in the ground very recently, which means it's the most modern plant. It's not encumbered with 20, 30 years in Boston of other people touching, splicing the network, and having their tentacles all tied together. Ours is a very clean network that we're bringing to Boston. Then we tie onto it the most advanced technology in terms of our Sienna backbone, which is an equipment provider for those that don't know. It enables us to turn up hundreds of gigs of capacity for transport that we can point in various directions to support those customer needs, whether they're going office to office, office to data center, multi-node connectivity, and know exactly what routes, exactly where your bandwidth is going. So we take this and bring this kind of comprehensive evaluation to the forefront, where our sales engineers, Massimo's on the line, his team get involved with our customers, with our sales folks, and Al Maitino's on the line, the vice president of sales, and Al's team gets involved and they sit down and talk about the customer needs. So the comprehensive solution is, where are we today? Where do you want to be tomorrow? And making sure that that planning exercise takes place up front. Having done this for a long time, I've seen too many customers that build something and then are faced with a forklift or a tear out because what they put in place was not positioned for tomorrow. We're not positioned for the growth that be coming on the horizon or new applications that might arise. Our goal is to make it seamless so that once it's in place, our customers can really have predictable pricing, a predictable experience, and that's what we want to bring to the forefront. And of course, it's tied together with our customer service. So, we say next generation customer service. What does that actually mean? It means bringing a team that is dedicated to our customer from a client services perspective, people in project management who understand your network, understand the network from a NOC perspective when there's a support issue. And inevitably, in the world we live in with storms and cuts and construction, there's always an issue. And it's, how do you react? And we want to make sure that we bring that to the forefront so that our clients know exactly who they are dealing with, and that the people that are dealing with our clients know exactly what our clients' networks look like. We have done this for a long time in lots of places, as I said, around New York Metro, and now we're doing the same in Boston. And it stems, and we won't spend a lot of time on this slide, from the leadership team. I think the takeaway here, just as you're thinking about it, and you look at our CEO, Chris Morley, and our Chief Revenue Officer, Doug D'Alessandro, these are folks that have been at places like Zayo, like Crown Castle, Light Tower. Phil Olivero and I worked together at AboveNet, which was acquired by Zayo, and then Crown Castle. Al Maitino on the line, also with us at Light Tower and Crown Castle. The point being that we have assembled an industry-leading team who has built networks in many, many cities across the United States. We have relationships with the customers. We have relationships that are with the folks needed to make the investments in our customers. And as a team, what we do that's a little bit different than our competition, in our opinion, is we partner with our customers. And what I mean there is we are singularly focused on data networks. We are not building international. We're not building new wireless towers. We are not building subsea cables. We are connected to our customers with mission-critical data networks here in the United States, in the Northeast, and now we've branched out, and we'll talk about that as well. But this team is here and directly connected to the market and to our clients. So what are we doing here in Boston? First, we'll take a look at the whole network in its totality. We have 18,000 miles, 12,000 service locations, so buildings, cell towers, small cell nodes, where we are in data centers. And we use that fiber, that underlying asset, to build, as I said, custom networks. Think of it as the first layer, and we talk to our customers about how we need to configure things, and then we bring our equipment to the forefront and add it to the customer prem. We have a core network we'll talk about, which enables that mega bandwidth I discussed earlier. And together we create those solutions for our clients. So this just gives you a snapshot of a physical footprint where we have fiber from Lowell all the way down to southern Jersey, and we're building more fiber every day. I was just on a call earlier. We have hundreds and hundreds of projects going on that will take this network and make it look differently. So if you came back, we do this again in 6 months, you're going to see South Jersey further down. You're going to see Boston more densified as we go forward. So that's kind of our playbook, is we want to densify inward and edge outward as a company with our fiber. So let's get into really the crux of this, which is the Boston metro area. We are, when we say service ready entrance to the marketplace, we're not showing up here and starting from scratch. We decided that Boston was where we wanted to be. So we started to do some acquisitions. We acquired some fiber downtown Boston. Then we acquired a company called Cambridge Network Solutions, which had a great footprint in the Boston downtown area over to Cambridge, and started to come outside of the area into Metro West. So we've got a really strong footprint to start from, and we brought our whole product set day one. So everything from Ethernet to dark fiber to internet to the wavelengths, those are all there and ready to go. This is not a dip our toe into the market. This is we are there. And then we brought the whole team, which we'll talk about in terms of Salesforce, in terms of operations staff, in terms of general management. We've got that in place, in market. We opened a new office in Wakefield, so people are there as much as we can be in the world we're living in with COVID. We've got our whole marketing team in and around Massachusetts as well. And so we are really entrance to the marketplace, investing in Boston every single day. The construction is off and running. As I said, we're lighting new buildings to the tune of 4 to 5 new buildings a month, not a year. That's 4 to 5 a month. So every month that our sales team and our customers are asking us for places to be, we are building and constructing that fiber into the building, creating those relationships with the landlords. We have a whole real estate team that does that. And as a result, we are in place and ready to go. And of course, I talked about the mega bandwidth, the optical transport of 800 gigs and the ability to turn that up on the fly. So that's predicated on our next gen Sienna backbone, where we have multiple nodes in and around the Boston metro area tied into the rest of our fabric. And then we can, of course, peel off the bandwidth necessary to reach a customer premise or data center. So what does it look like? This is the physical kind of zoom-ins of the 80 route miles we have through downtown and the seaport, where we're building every day. We have over 100 on-net buildings already in a very short time. And just to put it in perspective, this was launched in the summer of 2021. And here we are at the end of the year, and we're already in 100 buildings. And as I said, adding 5 a month. We're in 12 plus data centers. That number is going to go up because we've already green-lighted more data centers where we need to be, driven again by our customers' ask. We have dark fiber, we have lit services, and we are using those services to connect locally, regionally, and as you'll see, we even sprawl out across the country as needed. We are building right now, you can see on the right side of the page, the yellow network versus the blue. So the yellow is just about complete. You can see we're already investing in our investment. We don't plan to stop. We want to be where customers need. So there's a key data center in Lowell. We're in obviously 1 Summer Street downtown, making sure that we are connected where people need to go. And that is really the mantra of the company, is to take our customer needs, marry them up with where we are physically, and then use our construction to go and extend our network so that we can control the asset, we can control the bandwidth for our customers and help them really have an extremely advanced experience. Locally, we have a great team. And again, just as I said with the executive team, I would just extend the executive team right here. Folks that have been leading the sales organization for 20, 30 years in New England and other places, like Al Maitino, Mike Papel, who's the director of sales, worked with Al for the last 10 years, other than a little gap. Same with Mike and Massimo Cardarelli for 20 years in terms of his ability to engineer and create solutions for our customers and do that planning stage. Those 3 folks kind of own it and really are driving the day-to-day activity in New England for us. Herb Boynton is the general manager. So you think about all those moving parts to turn up a market, the new equipment, the new fiber, tying it to the other network, introducing the product set, finding office space. Herb has been instrumental in making that all kind of come together. And he's again, local to New England, of course. And Jeff Harrington came to us through the Cambridge Network Solutions acquisition and is running the local ops. So any kind of construction team builds in and around Boston. Jeff knows where all the routes are, knows how to deal with all the underlying infrastructure right-of-way issues that come with building fiber and making sure that we do so on time and in line with what our customers' expectations are. So a great leadership team locally, and underneath them there are 20, 30 people in Boston already, and more to come as we continue our expansion. And what does this mean for Boston? You know, obviously, I sit in New York City. I'm a Yankees fan. I'm a New Yorker, but I did go to graduate school in Boston. I love the city. I was so excited when we said we're going there. And it means that Boston is now connected to everything Lightpath. It means that we are there. We are ready to service you, ready to service the needs. Boston, as you can see from this picture, we've connected it diversely as step one down to the New York Metro. So think about all that fiber. Think about being a law firm in Boston, connecting to your network in New York and your office in Chicago or in Dallas. All of these places, all of these metros are now tied together. As I talked about, the core and the roots were in New York, but we are now planting these trees in the other places. And Boston is definitely the biggest metro beyond New York for us right now in terms of that physical fiber footprint. And we've tied it together very, very well. So people can get anything from 100 megs of bandwidth, 10 megs of bandwidth even, although, you know, 100 megs is where we're seeing kind of more of our starting point, up to people asking us for multiple 100 gigs of bandwidth, depending on their applications and needs for resiliency. And that could be across the WAN, or it could be just local within the metro. And we use that fiber plant, as I said, to look at the solution and figure out the best way to deliver and talk to you about your needs. Massimo and his team will often come to a customer meeting and a customer says, I need this, I need, you know, think about ABC, and his team will say, did you think about 1, 2, 3? Did you think about doing it this way? And then have those real technical conversations. So almost a consultative approach tied with our customers that we bring to market. And because we are so focused on mission critical data, that's where we end up a lot of the times in our discussions. I talked about it, but I just want to hit on the service portfolio in its entirety. So again, Ethernet, just as it sounds, anything from that small bandwidth all the way up to the 100 gigs. It can be delivered in multiple ways with multiple equipment platforms. The optical transport predicated mainly on our Sienna backbone and Sienna gear at the edge for our customer nodes. Internet access, great internet POPs, very clean internet product that we bring to customer prems. We deliver it. We can tie into it if you know, jumping around looking at the managed services. So a lot of our customers will get internet access, and then in their offices we handle their managed Wi-Fi. We handle their DDoS protection. So we have some things that go up the stack. Once you get our kind of core connectivity in place, people are adding these things on. You can see the other one, private networks, meaning we give you fiber and equipment that no other customers touch. So completely private, as if a customer went out and did it themselves, dug up the streets, hung the fiber on the poles. We go and do this for some of our biggest customers in New York, and we're starting to have those conversations with the biggest customers in Boston, because there's nothing more secure, if you think about it, than a network that no one else has gateway to. It's a very, very unique offering in the marketplace. And then finally, just the industry applications, things like Cloud Connect, so connected to the main cloud POPs, the AWSs, the Azures, the Google Clouds. We can bring that connectivity directly there. We have partnerships and we have development going on with them for direct connectivity that bypasses some of the kind of core fabric that many carriers traverse. So we will have both options. options, and it really depends on what a customer's needs are. But all those things are going to be very, very front and center to the Boston market as we go forward as well. Diving in on the optical transport, won't spend a lot of time here because I know we want to have some time for Q&A. But just think about the transport as these underlying pipes that are effectively unlimited bandwidth, and we can think about it in a scalable manner. You could think about it like lanes of a highway, where we can give you your own highway, we can give you your own lane on that highway, and that lane could be 1 gig all the way up to 100 gigs, 40 gigs, 400 gigs. We're starting to see some of the major hyperscalers asking for that kind of capacity. So we look at it, and again, that's the size, and then the routing comes where it becomes customizable to look at with our clients and say, hey, we have this carrier today. They come out this side of our building. You are a carrier that's going to come into the building. Can you come out the other side so I have diversity and resiliency? That's exactly the kind of conversation we want to have. It's exactly what the construction team will go figure out how to do, and exactly what Massimo and Al and team would figure out how to deliver locally so that a customer's network experience is now completely augmented by what we're bringing. So that's the optical transport in its simplicity. And all of these things, as we're going over today at a high level, if something sets a light bulb off and you want to have a deeper conversation, please follow up with us. We're looking forward to doing that. I talked about internet. This is the last kind of product slide, and then we'll go into the quick Q&A here, bringing on Massimo and Al. But the internet concept is really to be just like everything else we do, very secure, very scalable, and very fast. We have it all built and predicated on dedicated fiber. We have different gateways at all those places that we showed you in the earlier slides in terms of New York or Boston. And we're bringing that scalability to our clients right to their prem with our SLAs, with our delivery right to the point we hand off to you at your node. So there's no ambiguity about what you're getting. We talk about that. All of our products, of course, are MSA, SLA type products, and we work on those with our clients. So everything we do is supported through our NOC. We have visibility to it. We talk to our customers about what they need, and that's how we support it, and it's no different for internet. The reason we call this product out, as opposed to diving into some of the others, what we're seeing in Boston as we're building into these buildings, we're getting a lot of requests for internet to bring it right into these high-rise buildings or into Cambridge, so any of the buildings there, or medical loops. So the internet is business class. It's built for the infrastructure of buildings. It's built for clients to have a business class type experience as opposed to a residential type experience. Those are slightly different things, of course. So we wanted to call that out and say it's available and ready to go today, as is Lightpath. And we're really excited to be in Boston and be part of what is a great city. And hopefully we can add to it in any way possible as we go forward. And I thank you again for your time today. I will end this portion of the presentation, and we'll turn to questions here, and hopefully we have some. Let me check as I get to play moderator now, and we can bring on Al and Massimo if possible. And let me see here. Yeah, great. Everybody's on video, so thank you. We do have a question here, Al, and the question I have that came through is, so as you're building out the sales team in Boston, are you folks dealing with, sorry, just make sure I get it, businesses only, or are you dealing with fiber to the home as well?
So good afternoon, and thanks, Doug. So great question. So yeah, let's make it hopefully clear that our primary focus is in fact the enterprise and business community. In select instances, we would consider offering services at a home or resident, but our primary focus in mode of operation is going to be centered around catering to the business community.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Mas, Massimo, I guess this question's more for you in terms of construction and timelines around Boston. Historically, it's been, in Boston versus out of Boston, somewhat difficult. How do you approach a job where you have to construct to some of these new buildings?
So good afternoon, all. So we do have a construction team and local construction manager on the team in Boston. And, the approach is dealing with the local right-of-ways and the municipalities. It's getting the engineering up front, the design work, dealing with landlords and building owners, and just being upfront with customers on timelines. Our standard intervals are usually 60 to 90 days for new construction, but there are outliers depending on the areas that we're building in right now. So, but the key is working with the engineering firms and the municipalities closely.
Okay, thanks, Mas. There's just one or two more here. The next question would be, and I guess either one of you jump in, maybe both of you. If we have offices that are in Boston, but also sort of outside of one of the markets you outlined or a part of the state you outlined, how could you service us if your fiber's not there?
Now, you want me to jump in now?
Yeah, sure. And I could add.
So from a technical side, we do have presence in carrier hotels and data centers, like Doug mentioned in the earlier slides. And we also have good relationships and partners with other carriers, right? So we're able to do the local loop, the last mile within the footprint that we currently reside in. And then we partner with the other providers and carriers to reach other markets. And we provide one ubiquitous network, one connection.
And I would add that one of the things that we do, and we encourage our employees to identify areas that we can extend our network in. So as Doug had mentioned earlier, we are partnered with Morgan Stanley Infrastructure Partners, who has a significant amount of capital allocated for the augment of our existing facilities. So if we find businesses that are in the periphery of our existing plant, we ask our employees, or in this particular case, sales representation, sales engineers, operations folks, to identify areas that ultimately will allow us to deliver additional services beyond our current scope. So if you are that customer that looks at our network and identifies that you're within, a reasonable arm shot, if you will, of our current plant, I would encourage you to take advantage of a competitive quote from us, using whether it's our direct fiber or the facilities, as Massimo had mentioned, from other vendors.
Yeah, thanks, Al. Thanks, Mas. The last question I have here is with regard to cloud connectivity. Just if you could explain a little on how you connect to AWS and Azure from the Boston market. Mas, maybe you want to lead us up there?
Yeah, so currently, obviously the last mile will be dedicated infrastructure from customer space suite within an enterprise building. And depending on design requirements, it could be single or diverse legs back to our core infrastructure. And we currently partner with the Equinix Cloud Exchange. So what we will do is tie your facilities into our core infrastructure, anywhere from sub-rate 10 meg, 100 meg, all the way up to 10 gig, and greater than 10 gig on a custom ICB basis, and leverage our core to bring you to the Cloud Exchange, which gives you access to multiple cloud providers. It gives us the ability to get you to AWS, to Azure, to Google, and a whole host of other cloud providers. Those on-ramps are, you got Boston, we have Secaucus, New Jersey, and we're also down in the Ashburn area, Ashburn, Virginia. So those are probably the key on-ramps for that.
Great. Yeah, and I would say the other thing, we're augmenting that product as well. So we will have the direct connect I mentioned as I was talking. So whoever asked that question, we will go through the Exchange platform and or direct and be able to bypass that as we get into Q1 here. We're just doing that testing with our cloud partners right now. So more to come on that product as we go forward, but it is available in Boston today. And as is Lightpath, I think that's all the questions that are out there. I don't know if there's any last words that Al, locally, you'd want to add, or Massimo, not to put you on the spot, but appreciate, again, the audience taking time out of their day in our last minute here. I'll let you say the last word.
Sure. Well, so naturally, we really appreciate those who actively participated in today's webinar. As Doug had mentioned, we have a tremendous team in place and tremendous representation with lots of years of experience, great facilities, obviously, and plant within the ground. And, every single month, as again, Doug had referenced, we are bringing on whether it's new buildings and subsequent new customers. And we're hoping to continue that theme going forward. And hopefully some of you who have actively participated today will take advantage of what there is to offer.
Well said. And we wish everybody a healthy and happy holiday season. And thank you for joining the Lightpath virtual lunch and learn. And we'll look forward to servicing your business needs as we go forward. Thank you.